James, what's up?
All right, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and welcome David for part two of how he was able to beat that habit, that monkey on his back.
Yep, yep, that monkey on my back. Hey, so remember, a lot of things, James. For one, and this is just me. This is the severity of my addiction. So the first thing, right, was somebody I respected came back into my life, and I was embarrassed about what I had become. Not only was I embarrassed about what I was in prison for, because I'm here for 187. So that's an embarrassing thing to tell somebody. That's an embarrassing thing to for somebody that you care about and respect to know. Okay, well, this person right here, he's capable of taking somebody's life. So that was something that I didn't want someone like that to know, because I was in that lifestyle, and you kind of keep those things kind of close to the cuff. And so now, not only do I feel like a monster, I feel like a monster for what I'm in prison for. I feel like a scumbag because I'm still using that stuff. So that was the one thing, right, that started it. Two was CDCR intervention. CDCR was doing random drug testing at that time. So CDCR held me accountable. CDCR clipped me and took a privilege from me that I wanted, which was my visits. I didn't care about nothing else. I cared about my visits, especially now that my girl was going to come up and see me. So that was the one thing. Two or three, right? Three was them having them taking the visits for a year if I get caught with another test. So that would have been that's two things right there for CDCR that they did. Look, we're gonna take your visits for 6 months. Next time we're gonna take them for a year. And anytime you get caught with another dirty after that, we're gonna restart your year. I knew dudes that were up to 3 years because their years just kept getting restarted and restarted and restarting. And that's a big thing. So that's another thing, right? Four, family visiting. Family visiting came back to for lifers. And I wanted to be able to have that connection with my girl again, like I had had on the streets. That was another thing. Um, you out of those four things that I mentioned, the most important thing was one thing I didn't mention because it didn't exist at that time. I didn't want to get clean for me. All those things that I did were for selfish intentions. How am I being affected by the things that I'm doing? I can lose my girl again. I can lose my visits. I can I can go on C status. I can lose my visits for a year. I can stay on close custody. I won't get. Those are all things that affected me. I was able to stay clean, James, when I stopped caring about how things would affect me and I started wanting to be clean for myself. So once I got 6 months to a year under my belt, I started to get confidence. But see, I wasn't clean in the sense where, yeah, I'm just cold turkey across the board, right? I didn't understand what being clean was. In my mind, I thought, well, being clean was don't use no white, don't use no black, and just slang here and there just to put money on the shelf. That's what I thought being clean was. And every once in a while, you're gonna have to knock somebody out to get paid. That's what I thought being clean was, and that's ridiculous. That's not recovery. In my mind, I'm like, oh, I made it. I'm in recovery. I'm not on white. Hey, I'm not on white. I'm not on black. I'm just slanging, but I'm not using, and that's what it is. So that's not that don't work like that. I started to get around dudes. Well, I got sent to a 180. The 180 into Tehachapi. That's a crazy spot right there. But that was home for me. I grew up on 180 level 4 yards on the main line and all that, so I knew what it was. I felt comfortable there. But I've never been on a 180 level 4 where I had something to lose because before I didn't care. It didn't matter if I had a parole date or not. My first priority was what I can do for the gang and what I had to do to represent. That was it. That was all I cared about before. Whatever happened, happened. Now I'm on a 180 and I'm thinking, damn, you know, uh, maybe we should hold up on this incident. Maybe we should hold up on that thing. Maybe we should try to find peace. And at the end of the day, I didn't want to get a 115 because it was going to restart my year, and my girl wasn't going to put up with that shit for too much longer. I had already restarted my year probably like 3 times for riots, assaults, and stuff like that. So she wasn't. She's already asking me, well, why you're still caught up doing gangbanging shit too? You're still doing the same thing. You're still gangbanging, obviously, and that was also a contributing factor to how you lost me before. And so my hesitation led to what? Me getting got. It's just what it is. If you're not me, I lived with my knee on the tiger's neck for a long time, and as soon as I took it off, it turned on me, and that's what it is. That's the nature of this beast in here. So
Hey, my wife just had to ask me something. So if you're slanging drugs while you're in a gang, does the
yeah,
money is that money yours or do you have to split it with anybody else?
you gotta split it. Now, this is the thing. So on the main line, you have to pay a price. You're on the main line, like generally when I was on the main line, if you were doing things, you have to pay a third. So everybody knows you got to pay a third. So anything you bring in, a third goes to the leadership or to that entity, and then you could do what you want to make some money. I heard it's changed now. I heard that they kind of like get their hand in a lot of stuff, but look, I can't speak on that because I'm not there, one way or the other, you know.
Yeah.
But I know when you're a gang member, the politics are a little different within that entity because you have to keep the people around you fed. So that's a cost of doing business. So you don't want to be the one person in your gang that's on that has money, that got product, and that has things, and the people around you don't got nothing. Because what are they gonna do? For one, they're gonna start hating on you. They're gonna start hating on you. Other people that don't like you because you compete when you're doing business like that. You're competing with other groups on the yards. There's other people that are on, and they don't like what you're doing because you're taking money out of their pocket. So those people, they'll see that you're not feeding your homies, and they'll start to feed your homies, and that's how it works. So as soon as they start feeding your homies, they're gonna start whispering in their ear, well, look, let's just get rid of this dude. Why you put up with that? This dude ain't doing this. This dude ain't doing nothing for you. I got you guys. You guys can feel secure if you guys get rid of him, and we'll put you on, and you could be that man. And guess what's gonna happen? Your homies are gonna get you.
Yeah.
And so you have to make sure that if you're not paying a third to anybody, but you're still making sure that you're secure in the way that you're doing business. So you got to keep fools on. You got to keep what I did, and that a lot of that is what led to me getting got over there in Tehachapi, because I was the man over there. I was one of those dudes. Like I got there, but I was competing and I was staying competitive with things. But when I wanted to change my life, I stopped I stopped thinking like a dolphin. When you think like a dolphin, you understand what they're going through. You're like, oh, the homie's hurting right here. I see this, I see that. Maybe I should get him on a little bit. I should get him right. But when I stopped thinking like a dolphin and I started thinking like a businessman and I started thinking responsibly, I started thinking like I stopped caring what they were going through. When the homies came up and asked me, they're like, look, what's up, fool? You got me? Like before I'd be like, hey, don't trip. You don't owe me nothing. Before I'm like, hey, homie, where's my money? And that's, but I was doing that a lot. And not only that is I still had that attitude, but I didn't have as much of a willingness to commit violence like I used to. Where I'm like, hey homie, what's up? You gonna, what's cracky? And they started to see that I wasn't right off the bat. I would just take flight or I'd have something already worked out. But they started to notice that I wasn't as willing to remove them or to get paid as I used to. So guess what? The conversation started to happen behind my back. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, James and James's wife, because I wasn't going to learn. I would have picked up another one. I would have done this. I would have done that. I would have dodged and danced because I was scared. Let's be real here. I was afraid what my life sentence would look like without being in a gang. I was afraid. I had never been in prison on my own before. I had been involved with gangs since I was a kid. I didn't know how to do time any other way. So I was afraid. And I knew what I had to do, which was leave the gang, but I didn't know how to do it for one. Well, I knew how to do it. I didn't have the courage to just walk up and be like, "Look, homie, I'm done. You do what you do," and just get freaking rocked, or I could have got killed on that yard. I know people that have. So that was what I wasn't willing to do. So I was going to continue manipulating the system as much as I could. The system was the gang, as much as I could. Hopefully that I can make it off that 180, but realistically I wouldn't have. And guess what? They made the decision for me. That's why when I got, they were smart enough. They got me from behind, which was cool. Two good sized hitters got me from behind, and it was crazy because when it happened, I didn't. I was telling you, I didn't feel no fear. I felt so much relief. Like when I had them dudes, and I was like, man, I wasn't even like trying to hurt them or nothing. I fought back. I got shot at. Everything, you know. Um, it was a standard incident, just like any other on the 180. They'll start shooting first and they ask questions later. So yeah, they lit us up, they blocked us up, they sprayed us, gassed us, did everything right. But I didn't notice any of that. I didn't care. I felt the blocks whizzing by, um, ricocheting. I could hear the sounds, I could hear the shots, but all I was thinking was my future. I was just thinking.
All right. So I'm not sure if you could hear me, but if you can, it froze up a little bit. So we're
What
back.
what what
You're
about
moving back.
what about yeah? But it's a crazy thing though when you're getting God like that, to be thinking about your future. It was crazy, man. It was like almost like I wasn't there. Like my body was going through what it was going through, but my mind, I could have been in a concussion. They could have hit me pretty damn hard. Fools hit me so hard I had an out of body experience. But hey, I started looking into the future and I started thinking, damn, like I'm free of this. No matter what happens now, there's no going back. You know. And the crazy part is, it was a bad call on me. The way that they did it to take me out of it, they did a bad call. So they tried to bring me back. It was there was other cliques that were within the gang. When I went to the hole, I knew a lot of dudes in the hole. There was kind of like a thing going on between A Yard and B Yard at that time in Tehachapi. A Yard was a whole different group of individuals than B Yards, and A Yard was more connected and more close because they were going at it with other fools over there. So the environment was a little bit more tight knit, and I knew a lot of the dudes over there. I had actually brought a bunch of them into it. So those were like my little homies. So I ended up in the hole with those dudes, and they were out for blood. Them dudes were mad, but they were trying to pull me back. Like, don't worry about it. All them fools are in the hat, this and that. We got this. Like, honest, like it's good. They knew who it was, and they were like just they even knew they knew I was upset though, because I was still mad about the whole thing. My pride was hurt, because I had never got in prison before. I've never been got in prison. This was How do you get got in an environment that this was my environment. So that did something to me. Right, I thought like, man, what? I'm just not cut out for this no more. You know, I'm not cut out for this no more. Like, the old me would have never let that happen. Regardless, something's changing, and I got to. They sent me to Calipatria after that. So when I got to Calipat, I told you it's not walking the yard.
Yeah.
It, you walk in the yard, you look around, you see your homies, you see fools that got the same symbols as you, same gang tattoos, same regions. So when I got to that yard, it wasn't my homies that hit me up. It wasn't even members of my former gang that hit me up. They hit me up after, when they found out who I was, because people knew me. But the first people to come into contact with me were facilitators. They were mentors. They were they were the recovery community, and they weren't the Christians. That's the thing that was different, because I'm used to Christians coming up and being like, "Hey, what's up, brother? You want to go to church?" They do the whole little spill, which is cool. But that was
All right. So it looks like the video got frozen. Hopefully it
so
freezes.
when I had
We're
when I
back.
had ex homies come up. Hey, when I had ex homies come up to me, James, on that yard, and tell me, "Hey, what's up? I know you're just coming from the 180. Have you ever tried these self-help groups? This is what's available to you. Come sit in on a CGA meeting with us." And I'm looking at it like, damn, I don't even know what that is. They're like, "Look, it's homies that are just like you, fools that came out of the system, came out of the game, came out of the shoe, and we talk recovery. It's not a specific faith-based group. It's something that you're gonna recognize a lot of the people that are there, and you'll be surprised." And so, you know, the rest is history. I've been clean for almost 7 years. And yeah, that's the difference.
Hey, my lady
Yep.
say congratulations.
Thank you. I know. Thank you, man.
Hey, I know it's about
So
to
it's
cut
gonna cut
off.
off right now. Yep.
So hey,
So we out of here.
like I said around here, that's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it lights out. And with that,
Yep.
we're out.